In today's video, we're going to be continuing and discussing the Thieves Guild questline in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Last time, we completed a series of tasks for our new Doyen, Skriva. Skriva had us find a family heirloom in the city of Leowin. We had to steal Hrormir's ice staff from the Mages Guild. We found a book in Skingrad called The Lost Histories, and we also got Hieronymus Lex reassigned to the city of Anvil. Once those tasks were completed, we were notified that the Grey Fox himself would be sending a messenger to us in order to give us quests. Now, all we have to do is wait for the messenger. We decided to head over to the Imperial City as per our journal update for independent thievery. Because we fenced over 600 gold, the Grey Fox's messenger will find us quicker over here. We figure that the next best thing to do as well would be to force a wait. We set the timer for 24 hours, and as soon as we initiate it, it skips down to 1.
I have a message for you from the Grey Fox.
Metherdel appears in front of us. We ask what the message is.
The Grey Fox has a task for you. Meet him at Helvius Cecia's house in Bruma.
It's a brief but very straightforward message. We pop open our map and fast travel to the northernmost city. Arriving, we run to the southern part of town where Cecia's house is located. We see Helvius standing outside of his home. We speak with him.
He's inside, downstairs. Don't keep him waiting.
Cecia doesn't offer us much, but we do as we're told and head inside. We descend down the stairs to Cecia's private quarters. Here, sitting on a chair just around the corner, is the Grey Fox himself. He's clad in leather armor and dons the infamous grey cowl. We approach and speak with him.
I see you got my message.
We say it's an honor to finally meet him.
I have need of your special gifts. There is an item hidden away in a remote monastery. I need you to go get it for me. The monastery is extensive and well guarded, so you should make sure to be well prepared. Should you succeed, I will pay you well for your services.
We say that we'd be honored to help.
Capital! The monastery is called the Temple of the Ancestor Moths. It is where retired blind moth priests go to wait out the rest of their days. I will mark the location on your map. Look for it in the far northeast of Cyrodiil, beyond Cheydinhall. I need you to acquire Sevilla's stone. It is a large crystal with special properties that I need to gain advantage. Remember, do not shed innocent blood. However, there is no blood price for slaying the stone's guardians, human or inhuman. When I receive word that Sevilla's stone is missing, I will be here, waiting for you.
Before leaving, we ask him about himself.
I don't answer questions about myself, particularly when they come from a Shadowfoot.
Well, we got shot down, but it was certainly worth a try. We leave Helvius Cecia's house and open up our map. We scroll to the east and look north of Cheydinhall to find the Temple of the Ancestor Moth marked on our map. Our closest known location is Azura's Shrine, so that's where we fast travel to. Arriving, we run a short distance northeast. On our way, we encounter a brown bear which we kill with Goldbrand. Distraction aside, we continue to run along the path until we reach the Temple of the Ancestor Moth. Arriving, it appears to be a small settlement hidden in the valleys of the Gerald Mountains. We get a quest update that because we're not 100% sure where to go, we should see if anybody around is willing to help us. We see 3 settlements. A hut that looks like a living quarters, a chapel, as well as a sort of mausoleum in the back. We approach the monks' quarters and see that it's secured with a hard lock. However, by breaking in, it's not considered a crime. We enter and see 3 monks sleeping in beds. They're wearing white robes and appear to be somewhat peaceful. Getting the foresight that we're going to have to do some persuading, we equip every piece of armor and jewelry that's going to help us out. We pick a random monk, Brother Hyar, and wake him up.
What can this peaceful monk do for you, stranger?
We ask him about the blind monks.
I don't understand what you mean. We can see just fine.
Seeing that he's playing coy with us, we ask about Sevilla's stone.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Understanding that we have to grease him up a little bit, we toss a few septims his way and cast Beguiling Touch. We then try again.
We serve the retired moth priests from the Imperial City. The work they do leads to progressive blindness. They live in utter darkness in the secret catacombs. Of course, it doesn't affect them because they're blind.
We exit the conversation with Brother Hjar and try our luck with Brother Holger.
What can this peaceful monk do for you, stranger?
We ask him about Sevilla's stone.
I really shouldn't be telling you this, but I know you are trustworthy. The blind monks in the catacombs guard the stone. It's said to have magical powers. Don't tell Heridi I said anything. I could be banished for telling you.
We ask him where the catacombs are.
I can't reveal that. It would be far too dangerous. I don't know you that well.
We cast Beguiling Touch on Brother Holger and try again.
Okay, I'll show you, but only because you are my dear friend. Follow me.
Please be discreet and don't bother the other monks.
Setting aside that wicked voice change, we exit the conversation and follow Brother Holger. Together, we leave the quarters, and he leads us over to the mausoleum, which is titled the Ancestor Moth Crypt. We go inside and descend down some stairs leading further into the crypt. He rounds a corner and goes down some more stairs and eventually stops at a door. He doesn't say anything beyond here and offers no unique dialogue. The door leads to the Temple of the Moth Halls, and by going through, our quest really begins. We get a journal update that reminds us that if we kill anybody down here, it doesn't count towards a blood price. We go into our inventory and equip everything that will help us with our stealth. Namely, the most important piece would be a recent jewelry pickup known as the Ring of Khajiit. This offers 35% chameleon on self and will definitely help us with sneaking. We walk a little bit into the first area and see two blind moth priests praying. My guess is that the game had to make it make sense with the fact that the blind monks could still detect us even though they can't see us. So that's why everybody keeps reiterating that we can still get caught. We made it a point to stick to the shadows, as otherwise our sneaking skill would not carry us very far. All the meanwhile, while sneaking past these two blind monks, they kept making sounds that they were on high alert. Eventually, we made it to a crossroads where we had to decide to go through an old wooden door that was locked, or continue on another pathway. We chose the old wooden door and saw two more monks from within the room behind it. This time, our sneaking endeavors were not as successful. From the moment we stepped foot into the room, one of the blind moth priests stood up from their chair and aggroed onto us. We decided to slowly pull her away from her companion and lead her back out into the hallway. She was only attacking us with her bare fists and wasn't doing too much damage. Because we knew we were not going to incur a blood price upon killing her, we fought back with Goldbrand and ended her life pretty quickly. From here, we snuck back into the room, stuck to the shadows in the corners, and we were successful in not attracting the attention of the second blind moth priest. From here, we made our way down the pathway and came across a door leading to the catacombs. Entering inside, we walked for just a little bit before we were faced with another decision. We could either continue down another pathway or use the key we just acquired to open an old wooden door. We chose the latter, which happened to be a shortcut. The only thing is we had to sneak through the sleeping quarters for the blind moth priests. We were lucky though in that there weren't too many of them currently in here, and all we had to do was hook a bend around the corner and follow the pathway leading to the next door. This door led to the Caverns of the Moth. This zone was definitely a switch up from the previous ones. Instead of underground keeps filled with rooms and hints of civilization, this area just happened to be full of tunnels and caves. Also, another difference, instead of blind moth priests, there were actually undead inhabiting the caverns. We tried to get the jump on another lich, but it saw us right away and summoned a skeleton to help it out. It was here we stood up, took out Goldbrand, and began hacking away. We continued to move along throughout the caverns, and came to a little area that contained various spike pits. This area was a shortcut to get across, and we decided to take it. We were successful in making our first few calculated jumps, but then it got to a point where it all went downhill, and we ended up jumping on the spike pit multiple times. Our health went down to about a quarter, but we were through the shortcut and ready to continue onwards. Further along the path, we were in a little narrow tunnel, and it ended up leading us towards a wraith. We were worried we'd get the same outcome as we did with the nether lich, but this time the wraith had its back turned to us and we were able to successfully sneak on right past it. And just below the slight descent down deeper into the caverns, we came across a door leading to the Shrine of the Moth. On the other side, we made our way through a small tunnelway, which ended up leading into a massive open area. Looking at the green arrow on our compass, we see that Sevilla's stone is sitting on an altar in the center of the room. In front of the altar is a dark welkin stone, as well as a blind moth priest who's guarding it. We make our way down into the central area and get in closer to the stone. Hiding behind a pillar as to make sure the dark welkin stone doesn't see us, we take a look at our surroundings. Sevilla's stone is too out in the open for us to just go and grab it, as we'll surely be spotted and or fired upon. So we get the idea that maybe we can knock the stone down from its altar and grab it from behind. We start off by firing an arrow, but it doesn't work out so well. We then switch over to our destruction magic and equip flare. Thinking about the angle we want to attack it from, we decide to sneak over to the column on the other side of the room. During our movements, we were actually spotted and targeted by the welkin stone. It did land a hit on us, but it did not attract the attention of the guard. From here, we got into the right spot, cast flare, and successfully knocked Sevilla's stone off of the altar. We then snuck down and went to the other side of the middle platform. From here, we were trying our best not to catch the attention of the guard, but we were constantly taking hits from the dark welkin stone, even bringing our health down to half. We peeked our heads up and saw Sevilla's stone laying on the ground. We couldn't quite reach it, so we decided to hop up on the platform, which thankfully garnered no new attention. We got in close, picked it up, and got a quest update. Now all that's left to do is to leave the Temple of the Moth. We successfully snuck away, but before we left, we decided to test out this blind moth priest's combat abilities. Since he was the one guarding the coveted item, surely he must have some skills. We switched over to Goldbrand, and quite unfortunately, our new foe, the blind moth prelate, was just as easy to kill as the other blind moth priests. The upside is that in his inventory, he actually had a very expensive enchanted necklace, which we can sell for quite a lot of gold. Now, we can officially leave the Temple of the Ancestor Moths, and admittedly, even though we were very careful and cautious while entering into here, we did not care as much while leaving. Aggroing the Wraith was very purposeful, but aggroing the blind moth priests in the rest of the temple was not. None of them put up a very good fight, and we found more blind moth prelates, meaning that they're not as special as we thought they were. Eventually, after killing our way out, which was actually quite fun, as it was a nice mix of both sneaking in the beginning and then a lot of combat afterwards, we found ourselves back in the beginning zone of the crypt, meaning we were safe and free to leave. Speaking with Brother Holger, he has no unique dialogue for us. We then decided to check out the chapel, as that too was locked. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything unique or interesting in here. Speaking with the other two brothers, they also remain adamant that Sevilla's stone doesn't exist, as well as that there are no blind moth priests. Anyway, we pop open our map and fast travel back to the city of Bruma. Here we make our way back to Helvis Cecia's house, enter inside, descend down into his living quarters, and speak again with the Grey Fox.
I hear the monks were most hospitable.
We tell him about Sevilla's stone.
My sources tell me that Sevilla's stone has gone missing. Do you have it with you?
We hand it over.
Capital! Now I can see past the palace defenses. Oh, it's a good thing the Emperor didn't know they had this stone. He would have had it destroyed or taken it from them and kept it under lock and key in the palace. When I have learned what I need to know, I will call for you again. Let us leave Helvius's house now. He has served me well and deserves his peace.
And with that, we exit the conversation. We hand over the stone and receive 500 gold in return. Soon thereafter, we receive a quest update for independent thievery. Because we fenced over 700 gold worth of goods, we're ready for our next task given to us again by the Grey Fox. All we have to do now is wait for the messenger. And with that, thus ends the quest, Turning a Blind Eye. We figure it best to return back to the Imperial City, as our quest notification did say that would fast track the process for the messenger. So we traveled back to the capital and forced a 24-hour wait. About halfway through it, the timer skipped down to 1, and we were face to face with an old friend.
It's good to see you again. I have a message for you from the Grey Fox.
We ask what the message is.
The Grey Fox has a task for you. Meet him at Malintus Ancus's house in Coral.
We ask Emusei if he joined the Thieves Guild.
Yes, I did. After you saved me in Castle Skingrad, I vowed to join. I was having no luck on my own. Now I am running errands for the Grey Fox himself. I owe you much for your help.
With that, we exit the conversation, open our map, and fast travel over to the city of Coral. From here, we walk over to Melintus Ancrus's house, who lives in the western part of the city, right beside our old friend Imadrin Orin of the Fighters Guild. Outside, we see Melintus and speak with him.
The Grey Fox is waiting for you.
Brief but straight to the point, we enter inside of his home. Immediately, on the left-hand side, we see the Grey Fox standing. We speak with him.
I have need of your services once more.
We tell him we're listening.
My work with Sevilla's stone has revealed that I need something special for my plans. It is a small item in the possession of a powerful court wizard. Will you do this for me? I will pay you well.
We say we're in.
Capital! Bring me the Arrow of Extrication. It has a key-shaped head. Bravil's court wizard, Fathis Aren, recently acquired this unique item. You may kill Fathis if necessary, but not in the castle. My spy network will tell me when you have it. Return here with the arrow when you do. Now, we should get out of Melintus's house before we wear out our welcome.
And with that, the conversation ends. We leave Melintus's house and pop open our map. We scroll over to Bravil and see that there are 2 quest markers. One by the castle and one by the gate. We travel over to the gate first. Here, we're directed over to 2 different green quest markers, each leading to a different beggar. We go to the closest one and see that it's Cosmus the Cheat. We speak with him.
I'm saving up enough for some medicine.
We ask about Fathis Aren.
What are friends for? Fathis is also the wizard in the tower outside of town. He keeps his most treasured items there, not in the castle. Only Fathis can open the door to the tower, but there is supposed to be a secret passage somewhere in the castle that takes him to his tower.
We exit the conversation. That was actually a very helpful hint, but we see that we have a quest marker pointing us towards the castle anyways, which is likely for the secret passage. We fast travel over and make our way inside. Here we walk into the Great Hall and make our way up the stairs. Our quest marker is pointing us into the Lord's Manor North Wing, so we equip everything that will help us with our stealth, pick the lock, and go through the door. Here we sneak around the corner and hook the first left. By picking this lock, we get a quest update that we've entered inside of Fathis Aren's room in the castle. We take a look around but don't see much. We figure we probably wouldn't find the arrow in here, as Cosmus did tell us that he keeps all of his magical relics inside of his tower. As for the supposed secret entrance, we found it right away by spotting a carved out section of the wall that had movable pillars that we've seen before. By activating them, it lowered a false wall which leads to a door. Before going through said door, we decided to look inside of Fathis's chests. Both were locked by average locks and contained fairly mundane loot, but by looking through them we actually received a quest update that verified that the arrow of extrication was nowhere to be found. So now we decided to go through the secret passageway and pick the lock leading to the Bravil Wizard's Grotto. We barely made our way through any of the tunnels before spotting our first humanoid. This appeared to be a Dremora Kinmarcher, which was quite interesting. There's definitely no blood price on its head, and to be honest we had a tough time sneaking past it, so we faced it in one-on-one combat, defeated it, and moved along. The tunnels were very confusing. Most of them were half flooded, there were a lot of mud crabs as well as slaughterfish, and we could hear other people as well as Daedra down here. Before finding the correct way, we decided to pay a visit to a little in-game Easter egg. We made our way down one of the big chasms in the grotto and found a small hole. Down here, we came face to face with the giant slaughterfish. We decided to see if we could best it in combat, which we did, but it gave us a run for our money. We had to pop a few health potions, items, and it definitely took us a lot longer than we thought it would. It had pretty good health and it hit pretty hard. Looting it, we found a repair hammer, which actually helped us greatly as we didn't have any on us. Continuing with the task at hand, we thought we were going the right way, which we technically were, but we needed a key which we didn't have. Thinking that one of the conjurers located down here with us had it on them, we decided to try our hand at pickpocketing them. The pickpocketing did not work and the conjurer did not have the key on them, so we had to resort to violence yet again. Finally, we found the right way to go, which was actually near the area of the giant slaughterfish we were originally in. Here, we were aggroed onto by a Dremora Valkanaz, so we had to kill it. For the rest of the tunnels, we actually didn't come across anything else besides a rat. These tunnels led us to the Bravil wizard's lair, which was secured by a hard lock. We picked it and gained entrance inside. Here, we came across more conjurers, which showed us we were going to have more trouble than just Fothis Arin when it came to securing the arrow of extrication. We eventually came to a part where there were 2 conjurers in the room we needed to gain entrance to. Every time we got close enough to the gate, one of them would spot us. We were really set on trying to sneak past all of our enemies, as part of the charm of the Thieves Guild is to use stealth and not kill everything in sight. Eventually, we caught a really good break. Both of the conjurers had their backs turned to the gate, and we were able to sneak into a dark corner. From here, all we had to do was wait for the second conjurer to turn his back, and we were able to successfully sneak past him and make our way over to the stairs, which led to the next area. This door brought us into Fothis Arin's tower, which was where we needed to be, and this area might have been the most difficult to sneak through. We were dealing with at least half a dozen different variety of Daedra. We went over to the most obvious door and saw that in order to gain access to it, we needed a key. So therefore, our next thought was to climb the tower itself. There were at least 3 different levels to the tower that we needed to climb, and each level had multiple Daedra patrolling it. Eventually, we made it to the 3rd level and saw what looked like to be Fothis Arin in one of the side rooms. We thought to ourselves that is more than likely where we had to be. We put in a lot of work to get to this level, only to be spotted at the last second. So in a hot-headed way, we decided to bull rush into Fothis's room. We made our way into the corner and saw his chest. Here we found the key-shaped arrowhead, and upon picking it up we got a quest update that now we can leave the tower. We also see Arin's tower key, which will likely allow us to leave here. Interestingly, after closing the chest, Fothis didn't mind us being there at all. He didn't attack us, and he was actually quite friendly upon us speaking with him. We ruled out though that this was likely because his disposition was maxed out to 100, as we are the Archmage of the Mages Guild. So even though now that we had the arrow in our inventory, we had aggroed every single Daedra in the tower. We definitely got the beatdown of our life here, as about every 10 seconds or so we had to pop some more health potions. We were trapped in the corner and all we could do was swing away with Goldbrand. Finally, at the end of the horde of Daedra, we had killed the last one when we made the grave error of swinging an extra time and we accidentally attacked Fothis Arin. Here he began swinging away at us and there was nothing we could do to calm him down. This normally wouldn't have been a problem because we killed him, but because we're members of the Mages Guild, we were suspended for our actions. It's not that hard to get reinstated back into the guild, and it certainly was a very viable way of retrieving the arrowhead, but we decided to stick closer to the nature of the Thieves Guild, so we reloaded our save. The one part we had such a tricky time with was getting past the last Zivili. For quite a long time, there was literally nothing we could do without having him spot us. On what was likely our 20th or so time, we finally caught a lucky break and snuck into Fothis Arin's room. Here we made our way back over to the chest and took the key and the arrowhead. In a slow and meticulous manner, we made our way back down and used the key to escape the tower. Finally, out here we were free and able to fast travel back to the city of Coral. We walked back over to Melintus' house, entered inside, and spoke again with the Grey Fox with regards to the arrow.
I've been waiting.
We bring up the arrow of extrication.
Do you have the arrow of extrication?
We say only the arrowhead.
I'd hoped for the whole arrow, but that is not your fault. I will have to have it repaired. This arrowhead advances my plan to... never mind. I may have need of you again in the near future if my plans hold. Here is your reward. I am also promoting you to Master Thief in the Thieves Guild. Fathis Uls of the Imperial City will be your new fence.
And with that, we exit the conversation and leave Melintis Ancris's house. After strolling around for a little bit, we received a quest update for independent thievery that because we fenced over 800 gold worth of goods, we can now expect another messenger from the Grey Fox for our next task. And with that, thus officially ends the quest, Arrow of Extrication.